My name is Jessica Kerrigan. Today's date is February 25th, 2018, and I am interviewing Selwa El Saadoon on the Ball State campus as part of the Virginia B. Ball Center seminar, Muslims in Muncie. Selwa, thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
So our goal in this project is to learn about your life and about your contributions toward building a community with fellow Muslims in Muncie, Indiana. I want to begin by asking you, where and when were you born?
I born in Baghdad, Iraq, July 9th, 67. So officially I'm 50 years old. And I lived in Iraq almost 30 years, and the other 20 is here.
So can you tell us a little bit about the family in which you grew up in?
My family, I lived with my mother and father and 3 brothers from my mother, and I have siblings from my father. I have 4 other sisters and 2 brothers, so totally we are 10. And I don't know. This is my family.
All right. And what were your parents' names?
My mom's her name is Selwa El Saadoon. Her maiden name is Owens. And my father's name Selwa El Saadoon. And they met here in IU. Both of them finished their bachelor degrees, plus my father finished his master degrees in physics. My mom finished, I think, chemistry and social studies, I think. And they got married in 55, and they moved back in 56, back to Iraq. But, my mom always comes back and forth here to the United States, like every 2 years, 3 years, depends on, her situation. The last time she came here before we moved back, it was in 1975. And then after that, she got very sick, and then the war, Iraqi-Iranian war, started in the 79. So after that, the border was closed. Nobody can travel. So we stayed in Iraq.
Okay. And so with their degrees from university, what were their occupations?
My father taught in the high school and science college in Baghdad University. And my mom used to work for American company. She was I don't know exactly what she was working, but she worked off and on. And then in the 19, shall we say, 62, she came here to the United States, and she stayed here for a couple years. And she worked here in the welfare office. She was the manager there. And then she moved back again to Baghdad with my brothers.
So what was it like for you growing up in Iraq in the 70s and 80s?
The 70s, it was very nice, and maybe because I was very young, but I enjoyed it very much. After the war, it was like when it started the war, I was only sixth grade, so it was really, I don't understand it a lot. But when I've seen my brothers, they took them to the army, and one of them went like a prisoner in 1983, and my older brother went missing in 1986. It was very hard because your mom and your dad, both of them, was depending on on you to, shall we say, to cover for the others, you know. So it was like I didn't have, like, shall we say, teenager time or going out or doing anything. Only you need to work with your mom and dad.
From what I understand, your mother was born and raised in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Were you or your family treated differently because of your mother's American heritage?
In Iraq?
Yes.
Yes. In 1978, so any personality, shall we say, if as they have their background, is like in Iraq, they are very mixed. Like, you can find Iraqi, Persian, Iraqi, Syrian married together a lot. So when they started the war, they had they did like a new law. So if you're not officially 100% Iraqi from the mother and father, your privilege is less. Shall we say, you cannot go to college if your mom and your father is not Iraqi 100%. You cannot, get good jobs in there. And then they was in that time they were like looking for more of the people has background of Persian, because they took them and put them on the boards. But when you have they forced my father to get my mom to apply for Iraqi citizens, or they will take her and put her on the board too, because she's not officially Iraqi. So and she was that time sick in the hospital. So he applied for her and got her. They pull her American citizenship from her, and they give her paper that is saying she's Iraqi. And it wasn't like, every time you want to do something, you're not, so you cannot get it. Like my older brother couldn't go to the college because of that, but they took him to be a soldier in the war. So this is one of the things. It wasn't, shall we say, it gives us hard time to like move forward in there. And you always being worried because you are, you don't know when they will say, knocking on the door and say, you need to go out in that time. Yeah.
So were you also unable to attend college?
I got to attend college because my mother got the citizenship for that. And plus in after 86, when you have two brothers, shall we say, or more, like if they are dead or prisoner or anything, they give you a little bit some privilege. So this privilege got me to get to college.
So, growing up, how did you practice your faith?
It's not easy because in that time, if you wear a scarf and things when you're young and practice, like you go out, they think you are Saddam's regime. They always saying, this is they are too much religion. They will force them. They always put their, you know. Like a note on yourself, and every time they will ask you why you're doing this, why are you doing that. So it wasn't right to show, but you can do, pray at your house. You can do everything inside, but outside you don't need to show because you don't know who's, will say something.
So, going through the school system there, was religion incorporated into the school?
Well, there is a religion, but is like very shallow. It's not, exactly. It will be like reading Quran and explaining the meaning. That's it. But how you do, how to pray, how many times, what you do. This is not considered in the class of religion. This is like, your family must teach you. The other things is, very simple.
How did Islam shape family practices?
There or here?
I guess both.
There, if you really take the, how you will do the right, shall we say, if you take the religion, how you will supposed to do it, we make it very easy. It gets the family closer together and more like respecting, loving. It was, you will learn when you're young, if you're doing this, then you need to respect your mother and father. You always, when you do a praying, then you are, if you do it 5 times, that is, you are 5 times having a moment between you and God. And this will get you more in feeling more calm, more understanding, and it gives you more time to listen than, nowadays is everything rush, 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 fast on that. There is, most of it is we considered family wise. It's not like, what about me? It's about, you, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt. So when it's all of it more closer there than here. I haven't seen here really a lot, but there is very easy. And when you go and everybody is doing the same, pray the same time, doing the same things, it will get you more, with the family. So this is, but here is, I don't know, it's less. And maybe the work time and things is maybe affects, but I don't know. But but here you can show that you are a Muslim. There is everybody considered as a Muslim, but there is, a lot of religion we have back in Iraq. There is Christianity, there's Jews, there is Yazidi, there is Sabi, you know, but they don't say, hey, I'm a Muslim, hey, I'm Christian, and we'll say, hey, you're Iraqi. So this is what is the, but I thought everybody lived in a harmony there.
So you spoke a little bit about you were actually able to go to college.
Yes.
Then. Can you tell us a little bit about the college you attended?
I attended the College of Fine Arts. I finished audiovisual production. I worked in the College of Women, assistant professor for a couple years. And there is like you have a choice after you finish college, either to teach or to work in the for me, because I'm audiovisual production for TV, so I can work in the TV or I can work, as in college. So I preferred to be in, and this is only for the who is came the first 10 came out from the college as the highest, degrees in the college. They have the privilege of choosing, but other than that is you apply for it. So I choose to teach in women's college in Baghdad University.
So now you have a family of your own here in the United
Yes.
States. Can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Oh, I have 3 kids. My older daughter is Zahra, and my middle son, his name is Hassan, and the youngest one is Ali. Ali is 18, Hassan is 21, Zahra is 24, and she's in Ball State too, and her last year this year, or this semester, really, shall we say. And Haas is in Ivy Tech. He's finishing this year too. And Ali is in high school, and he's senior, and he's graduating hopefully this May.
So when did you first come to Muncie?
I came in the first time in Muncie as when I'm young, or you're talking when I'm like adult? I came like a couple times in the 70s. The last time it was 75 with my mother. And I came back in 1979. 97, no, 97. 19, yeah, in November. That is, we decided to bring my family here for safety reasons. So I came and I brought my mother with me and my brother.
Right. So you said you came in the 70s and then in 97.
Mm-hmm.
So what changes did you see in Muncie between those times?
In the 70s, I was young, so really I only remember my aunt's house and my grandmother's house in Selma, and I was playing, and things, and then it was like a little bit winter, so it's a little bit snow, small memories, but not a lot. And then when I came in 97, it was everything is new for me, because although I have like a little bit language, I can ask and talk and things, but other than that, everything, it was different than back home. And I had a hard time really to find, shall we say, a job in the first 5-6 months. And I depended on my aunt and my mom for a little bit support until I got to find a job to work. And of course, I needed to uh, get the kids to learn English, to get them in daycare, to and to learn to see, communicate with the other kids. It needed a lot of work. Plus, I was by myself, and my husband came after 2 years, so it was most of the time is only me to decide about my kids, myself, and how to do move forward in that. It wasn't like the moving from Iraq to here. It was not easy and very hard, and shall we say, it cost me everything to come to here. So when I started here, I started really, shall we say, from nothing to to build my family here, so to unsettled. So it takes a lot of energy and work in it.
So you said your husband um, wasn't able to come to the United
Yes.
States at first with you.
Yes.
Why was that?
When we in that time in the 90s is it was just like after the war, and they just opened the border to travel, and it's for certain, like if you're sick or you get like traveling for like a month, and then you apply to get approved so you can go out. And then I applied to go, like we're visiting Jordan, and I mustn't go out without a man. So my husband, he was in the reserved army, so he couldn't. They are not allowed for them to go out, and as any officers, they are they are not allowed to leave the country. So I took my brother and me, as he is my like uh, I don't know really the word for it, but is he is my what is the word for it? In the religion, you are in a certain age, you cannot go traveling without a man, like a brother, husband, uncle, close, like first degree closeness to you, to go out. So I took my brother and my mom with me, and we went to Jordan. It wasn't easy because they know we have dual citizens, and they were trying to find the American passports and things, or any papers saying we are having, like the dual citizens, because if you have it, uh, there is a penalty on that, is being hanged in that time. So I left, and then after I went to Jordan, and I got my citizenships and my passport, and my mom's too. And I was trying to get some tickets to come to here, but they didn't allow us to travel with my kids because they consider them Iraqis and they don't have any paper. So I tried to apply for immigration for them, and I waited 4 months in Jordan to get their papers, and visa for them. And then and that time is I think the last month. My husband got approved for going out too, because they had the, I don't know, they have like they say, okay, they can apply for to travel or there for sickness, and to get a group of officers to out. So they will get okay, we have this, and you have it within 2 weeks. If you can get this papers and everything, you can go out. So he got out in that time, and he came. But I got the papers for the kids, and my aunt got me tickets to come here. But I wanted to really to apply for him to, as to get all the family together, and it will be easier there if I applied and I say, well, this is my husband, these are my kids, I got them immigration visa to come here, I want for my husband too. But because it's non-refundable tickets from here, I cannot change the timing. So I came here, and I was asking about how to get my husband to come here too. It's not immediately, they will set. So they told me in that time, this is from the Congress office in Anderson, that I need to apply for citizenship for my kids, and then I can apply for my husband to come. So I got to work on that papers, and after I think a year, they got me to get the citizenship for my kids. So I applied for my husband. So it took him almost 2 years, of board, and to come here. So he came in 99, and I came in 97.
So, which war was your husband a reserve officer for?
Both the Iraqi-Iranian war and the American in 91.
So the Gulf War?
Gulf War, yes.
All right. So you spoke a little bit about how much you had to give up to come to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand on this? What did you have to give up?
Well, and that time is, and after 91, when the war done, it was, there is a lot of resistance there. So there is starting a lot of killing, and Saddam's regime, they forced a lot of people, especially in the south, they killed a lot, because they went to, they didn't like what had happened. So in that time, there is like a lot of these like officers, soldiers, and things went out. So they start like making like small gangs and things. So they will like kidnap, kill for like small amount of money. So they will. So anybody if has something, they will like good family, rich things. They will try to take some of the money, because when it got sanctions, and a lot of people lost a lot of money in that time. So, and other people, like when they are in the army, they don't know to do anything else than killing, doing the things. So this is what happens. So my husband's family was like his cousins and things. They are a little bit rich. So they thought, my husband's family, they are rich too, so they were trying to put a note, and they said, we will kidnap your kids, we need a ransom. And I thought this is will be, one time they called already, but I was really going to my family's house, so they missed, the kidnap. So when I seen that is this is getting like that, I was worried for my kids. So I thought, in that time I got a friend. It was when I was working, and he helped me to bring some letters to here to United States to see if there's anybody here, like my aunt. I know because some of my aunts is all of them older than my mom, and my mom is getting old. So I thought it will be, see the chance. What is the chance that if I can go out? So they after a while, I got an answer from my aunt. That is, she was glad that she heard that we're still alive and we are okay. And we asked her if we will can depends on her to come to here, and she said she loved to and be happy to help us in her way. And in that time, we started really to think. So. In that time when there's the sanctions, sorry, uh, the the money wise it was very low, so you can like $100 equal 112,000 dinars. So this is like a lot. That time you needed to go out, it costs you a lot of money, in millions. So you can, we got like to sell car, your house, your jewelry, whatever you can to get some money to go out. And when you go out, the government won't allow you to take, when you go out to Jordan, only $100 with you. And the $100 in Jordan is like 70 dinars. So it's not sufficient. So they will force the people to come back. If they have a lot of money, they will stay out. So when we went out, really, we didn't have only very little money, because if my mom has 100 and me 100 and my brother has 100, this is only 300, and we stayed for months, so it was very difficult. And I got help from my aunt here, and she sent me some money and so I can stay and get the visas for my kids. So, and of course, this is all of it, shall we say, as a loan. And it was, see, if you see it, it's hard. And after I came here, and when I start working, I paid back my aunt and my cousins for their help for it.
So, a big reason why you came to Muncie was because your extended family was here. Was there any other reason why you chose Muncie?
No, it's as I told you, my mom is from Selma, and my aunt is here. So we came because she's the one who is, shall we say, sponsor us. So we came here, yes.
So when first coming here, how did you identify in terms of like ethnicity, nationality, or religion?
Here?
Yes.
Sometimes they will ask me, where I'm from, I will say always I'm half and half, and everybody laugh at that. So, and but sometimes I don't know, because my mom and my aunt and first they're friends. I got introduced and things, so they know my background. They didn't ask, but when I start working, they always like, "You're from where?" So when you tell them Iraq, and they will say Iran. No, the country beside this country. Oh, and then some people accept, some people no, like they feel like uh, I don't know, but feeling like they don't like you and they don't want you. And sometimes they will say, like couple times they will say, I'm taking their jobs. And sometimes you feel bad about it. But I will say, okay, well, if is the job is there, if you want, you can come and work, on it. But this is most of the times. This is what they will ask about, because I have some accent in my English.
So, did you find it hard to adjust to these new cultural norms in the United States?
Yes and no. Yes, because I needed to get the kids to learn, and my because maybe by myself. And no, because when I was young, I was here. My mom's from here, and we always talk about it, and discuss things. And you will say, well, there is, you need to do like this. Here you need to do like that. So this is what is. It was a little bit easier for me, but it wasn't easy for my husband, because he did this is a new thing for him, and he needed to learn how to like speak. He took a couple of classes for English second language, and it wasn't easy for him to see his wife working and he wasn't. So it was a little bit hard for him, but we put our mind, shall we say, the goal is to work to get our kids to learn and to have better life. So this is what we did.
So, when coming to Muncie, have you faced any kind of discrimination here?
I faced not a lot, but after the 9/11, yes, I did. Because after 9/11, I decided to wear my hijab and to say, I'm a Muslim. And a lot of, give me hard time for it at work and out of work too. And I said, well, in that time, I needed to uh, feel like, what they are doing is not anything toward their religion, but is against the religion. So I wanted to make like for myself, like this is who I am, so you can see about it. So
So, um, can you kind of relay to us your journey through veiling?
well, I was after I got married, I asked my husband if is he minds if I will wear the hijab, because I love to wear the hijab, but because of the war, and they will say, oh well, she is too much religious and things, so I didn't want to. And he says no, he doesn't mind, and so I start wearing my hijab. And after, when we decided to come here to Muncie, and because of by myself, my husband asked me if it's easier for me to take the scarf so I will be like the others, and maybe it's a easier opportunity and things to find a job and things without giving me hard time. And when I came here, I have seen like a couple of friends and things. They were looking like, a little bit worried why she's wearing a scarf and things. I thought, that time it's better for me to take the scarf. But, as after 9/11 happened, I felt very sad and bad for all the people who died. And but I thought, it's not right, and they blame it on, on Muslims and things. And I said, well, this is not a religion thing, and what they are doing in the name of the religion is wrong. So I tried to I said, okay, I need to be back and be myself. So I wear my scarf, and from that time until now, I never took it off. And I gradually, people will see me as I am. Then because I worked with them for many years, they start, understanding, and they, learn from about Islam. Not everything is politic way, is more religion way in it.
So, on arrival in Muncie, how did you meet other Muslims here?
First, when I came, because I was living with my aunt, she really didn't know anybody as Muslims. But I got my kids an apple tree for as a daycare when I was going to work. So I've seen Dr. Mariam Brahim, and then I heard there is more Muslims, so I asked where is the mosque, and then I met another doctor, Dr. Mahmoud. I forgot the last name. And he was taking classes for English second language. And then I asked them where's the mosque, and then we start going there. They have like the monthly dinner. They go every month. Everybody bring a dish and get together, and then I start, learning about, in the mosque and what they do, and they do like Friday prayers and things. But I don't go because I'm working on a Friday, so I don't have the opportunity. So I practice at home in it. Yeah.
So, were you ever able to go to the mosque on Ball Avenue?
Yes. Yeah. I for many years really there, and I was sometimes I volunteer for doing the cleaning decoration for the, if they have like Eid party, uh, you know if it's anything you can do, you can ask, and we do it together. So sometimes I volunteer to do a lot of things there.
So, What was it like there?
It's a small mosque, but it was, I thought it's nice because we had very, from everywhere. So as there is from Egypt, from Syria, from Afghanistan, the Bangladesh. So you'll see different people, but all of them Muslims, and they will all of them working, for to get the kids together to, be friends together, learning together. It was very nice, and for 3 4 years I worked in the Islamic school, teaching Arabic in that. And then the kids, when they grow a little bit older, I had to do different things, so I didn't can worked a lot after that. But sometimes when you have to volunteer, you can do it, but not uh, less like every time in it.
Mm. So, do you remember anything about the relationship with that mosque on Ball Avenue and the Muslim Student Association at Ball State?
I think the students, they started it, and then some of brothers from like Emir Shahbaz was start working with them, and they had the, I don't know what they call it. It's not the ISNA, but something else, and they always try to communicate and and work together toward that. But really, I didn't interfere on that because for me is only I want to volunteer and work with my kids and other kids, to learn and do the things. But shall we say the politics way is not my way.
Yeah. So, do you remember anything about um, why they decided to move to the new masjid on Hessler Road?
Yes, because the old masjid was a little bit smaller, and if you have, shall we say, party, there's no space to get. And in the 2000s, it was a lot of students coming to Ball State studying and things, and there's no space for it. And the building was getting a little bit old too. So, and they were thinking to, they already bought the land to build a bigger place, but they found there is another building that is ready, and they got they can afford to buy it really. So they went ahead with the buying the building and did it the new mosque for it. So we have at least opportunity to invite people. You have the bigger space to do like shall we say Eid party, doing things, and you know this was a very good steps to do it.
So, what kind of responses did you receive from owners of the nearby residences and businesses for the masjid on Hessler Road?
Responses? I don't know anything about that.
Okay. Um, so, um, Are you involved with the Islamic Center now, today?
As a volunteering, yes. My husband is responsible for the maintenance of the masjid, so he always go and fix if there is any things needs to fix, damages, anything, and if it needs, bigger contracting and things, he will try to find, for it. So, but me, I will, donate my time and do things for it.
So, um, how have you seen, how does the community practice Ramadan?
Here they practice as they have like some of the students are single and things. We do like around Ramadan or before Ramadan, really, we'll do like a schedule. So all the families that they can afford, some of them will pay money, some of them will cook. So every day, like we have one family to two families cook and bring the iftar. The iftar is after, you break your fast, you will eat. So food plus dessert for the singles that they don't have family needs food to break their fast. We will, so bring this. Uh, and after that they get all together and they will pray for the night prayers every day for 30 days. And after the 30 days, of course, there is the Eid party, that is a celebration, 3 days they will celebrate. But most of the times we will do it on one day to get everybody together and celebrate it. And the rest 2 days, you can do it between the friends and families if you have time for it.
So, comparing the Islamic Center of Muncie to other masjids that you may have attended, what have you found to be different or, I guess, special about the one in Muncie?
We are a smaller group, and the other mosques, if you go to Indianapolis, is bigger and funded uh, more than here in Muncie. Here is the funding is less, so we can depend on ourselves to fund the mosque. But sometimes you need more on that, and I don't know, because we are a smaller group, it's not sufficient. But there is more, I think, is like schooling wise, mosque wise. They have bigger, because they have a bigger group there.
So, has this community had to overcome any obstacles since you've been here?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The Islamic, you're talking about Islam. Oh yeah, there's a lot of obstacles. It's to get all the money to buy the new mosque, to like remodel it, and to keep it, as like as you see in it now. Is it needs a lot of like to get together to talk about it. Uh, they have discussed how to do, like, how to do the school, how to put a program for that, to because you have different groups, shall we say, from different countries, everybody has their own way to do the things, to get it all together and get them, all of them, in one picture. It needs work. It's not like, immediately you will say, oh, well, I will do this, and then they will say, oh, yes, let's do it. You need to explain and shows and take steps in that. So there is to work it forward, you need to listen and give ideas and try to work within everybody's capability to do it.
So you spoke a little bit about how decisions are made and disagreements addressed in the Islamic Center now. Um, how have you chosen leaders in the Islamic Center?
Leaders is who can really to work, because it's this is like, as we say, it's like it's a type more as a volunteering, because it needs time. It needs a person capable to work with, like, inside the mosque, outside the mosque. Like, shall we say, Bibi Bahrami, right now she's the leader. She has strong personality. She has kind heart. She can, listen to you, understand your problem. Plus, she can work because she always volunteer for the, you know, other groups here in the, like, shall we say, with the other churches, with the, I don't know, really, she has a lot, so I cannot, I haven't asked her, so it's not nice to ask her. But, she do a lot of work, so I thought it's a good thing to choose a person like that to communicate with, shall we say, outside and inside the mosque. So, and this is the first time we have a lady as a leader, because most of the times it's men's. Always, we volunteer the men's to do the job. But really, is always the women's is the in the back who is moving forward for doing the things. And this is my my view.
Yeah. So, like you said, Bibi is now the president of the Islamic Center. So, what was your response when she was elected?
Oh, uh, we told her, it's a good opportunity to be, because she always work in the for the mosque and try to you know uh, shall we say, motivate all of us to do more. And so when you have a person always saying about it, I said, okay, you need to be. So we can always say, okay, we can tell her one, two, three, this suggestion, that suggestion, and how we can work it. And so instead of, telling her, or, a person of woman to tell the, like, a leader to a man to, like, go from one mouth to another. This is like, direct more. You can do the things in that time.
Yeah. So, I guess you could say that the election, um, when they elected Bibi as the first woman president, was pretty significant to the Islamic Center of Muncie.
For that time,
yeah.
yes.
So, what other significant changes have occurred over time at the Islamic Center?
Like, what specific you think are you looking for?
Pretty much anything.
Mm. Well, I think it's the biggest thing is when we, like, all of us got together to, shall we say, to work and donate to buy the new mosque, and like, to bring like in engineering for to remodel, like given ideas and how much it costs, and that, it takes steps to do it, and to volunteer to do the school, to bring the kids. It takes a lot of work in that too, as we are a small group of people.
Yeah. So moving a little bit to, um, well, I guess actually, how many years were they planning to buy the new masjid on Hessler Road?
They, really, I don't remember exactly what year they bought it, but it is in 2000. Exactly what year, I'm
Was
not
it
remember.
2007?
Maybe 2007. But it was like 2 years before was we were getting like fundraising and things to get money really to build the new masjid that is behind Walmart. There is we bought land there to build, so we have a bigger space. But when we had the money and this building went for sale, they discussed the opportunity is to, it will be, it's not cheaper, but it will be, we have existing building, we don't need to wait, and we can only remodel and things. So we worked on that to get the mosque on the new place.
So do you guys still own that property behind Walmart?
I think yes.
So have you heard of any plans to um, ever extend the masjid or?
I don't know what is the property lines and things, and if we, can we extend it or not, because but we have like there is talk about redoing the parking lot, doing small things for the kids. There is steps about it, but depends on which is goes first. So they will decide about it. But I haven't heard really, what they are doing. But I heard, it's really is the parking lot is going first for this year.
So moving more to your personal practice of Islam,
Hmm.
how would you characterize your own practice of Islam?
What do you mean in that?
Um, so have you? I feel like it was probably, was it easier to practice more so back in Iraq than it is here?
You practice everywhere. Like, you pray 5 times. You pray 5 times, either here or there. And you do, for women's is more to practice in her house, in her room, is than to show off and go outside and do the things, when you practice. Yeah, like, for you, shall we say, you pray, but you can go to on Sunday for the church, right? we do pray, and you go is some people will go to the mosque, but for women's it's not you must. For men's, yes, for the prayer for the Jummah, but the women's is preferable to do it at home. Is for more. It's not dignity. Is really is more is to, I don't know what is the right word for it, but I cannot find the word. But it is, you can do it at home. So I do it same.
Have you had to improvise or adapt any of your practices while in Muncie? If, say, work was to interfere with anything?
Yeah, you need always to the work, because sometimes it's long hours. Sometimes I will ask one of the like one of the managers' room or things to go and pray in it, and they don't mind at all. And I go and pray if I have long hours at work. If it's not, then I will finish work and go back home, and then I will pray and get to and, but it's, you need to do the prayers in certain times. So if you want to do the morning, you must do it before the sun rise. You want to do like we call it Dhuhr and Asr, that is a certain time between noon and before sun goes down. So there is timing. You need to do it in between to do it. If you cannot, then you need to do it after that. But is we call it qada. That is means is you missed it, but you must do it. So this is what. But most of the times nowadays I try to ask one of the managers and go and pray, so I don't miss it.
So the Hajj is known to bring people of all different ethnicities and backgrounds together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, kind of, I think, a lot how the Islamic Center of Muncie has brought a diverse group
That's
of people
true.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been on Hajj?
I wish. It's my dream, and I am hoping to go, but it needs certain steps to do it. You must, shall we say, not in debt. You must have, like, no kids depends on you too, and you must be even, you need to, from here you get to go. It takes you at least $7,000 to reach to do it. So it takes, all of that. So it's not the, but I hope one day, you know, the kids are getting off the college, and hopefully I will go.
And what is the heart of Islam for you?
Heart of Islam. You be, if you be a good Muslim, you be decent, be a good person, help each other, and this is you'll be like this is the heart of Islam. If you are good and be right forward and simple, this is you.
Going back a little bit, how do you go about purchasing halal foods?
Halal food really is halal meat. Here you don't find halal meat because we must slaughter the meat. Here is sometimes you're not sure how they slaughtered the chicken, the meat, like the beef, the lamb. When you see some of the programs here, is they like sometimes they give them electric shocks or they hit them with like a, like a hammer or something. So this is considered not slaughtered. So we don't buy this meat. Uh, for us, we go to Detroit to buy the meat, the chickens from there because they have very big community there and they slaughtered and do the things. So we can buy from there. Sometimes people goes to Chicago to get the meat and the chickens. So, but here is very rare to find halal meat in here. Sometimes there is like a couple of years ago there is like a farm on 28. They sometimes they have let you buy like a lamb and then they will slaughter it for you and process it and things, but I don't know if it's still there or not.
So going to Detroit, that's I guess pretty far to just buy meat. Do you have to stock up then when you go there?
Yes, I stock up. I have two freezers at home. So when I go buy, I'll buy boxes. So I don't buy like, two, three. So I can, you know, keep it because not I'm not going every month. Sometimes every 2 months we will go stack up this way.
Okay, so reflecting back, I think it's pretty interesting that your mother, coming from East Central Indiana, was raised as a Christian, married your father, and then converted to Islam. Can you just reflect on how her conversion and background in Christianity, um, how she was able to teach you about Islam and make you strong in your faith?
Well, my mom is she has shall we say she's knowledgeable and she tried to taught herself and when she married my father she was Christian and then when she went back to Iraq and she had her kids, so she was learning about Islam and trying to teach all of us about it too. And then when she taught us she always says in Christianity they do such and such, and then you see in Islam they do it this way. So in her way she is teaching us to learn not only about Islam, about other religions and how to respect the others, even if they have a different religion, and to show there is like similarities and things in religion, especially the stories in in the religions, for other prophets, and you know, and then when you see there is like more than one religion has the same, stories, the same background, and to, you know, how do they respect the religion, you will learn, to respect more your religion about it too.
So, switching a little bit to your life in Muncie, over the years, um, have you been able to find a sense of belonging in Muncie?
Oh yeah, I sometimes we go on trips. You go to like we went to Wisconsin. You went to Detroit because we got get some grocery, and always sometimes you take a trip like 2 3 days, and sometimes I went to Canada, to see the areas and things, and always I will feel like when I'll come back, I will say this is my home. I feel like, more settled. I like to feel more, shall we say, calm. Although, Muncie is very small, town, and, not a lot of entertainment in it, things, but I think it's a very, nice and good town to raise your kids and to, you know, go step by step with them.
What have you found to be the best part of living in Muncie?
Hmm. Best part, to be safe. When you feel you're safe, is the best part. Because I lived in many places and seen many places, but when you feel this is your, safe place, then this is your home. This is what I feel about it, really.
And have you been able to return to Iraq?
I returned in 2010 after 13 years here. My father was sick. He has a stroke. So I thought I needed to go and visit him, to see him. And really, it wasn't, I didn't know what will happen. So, because you don't know if you want to go, and yes, saying yes with your American passport to show, no, say you're, Iraqi because you have citizenship. You don't know what to do, and that times, it wasn't safe. But as he's very sick, I shall we say, gambled, and I went and see him. And everybody here was, my friends was very very worried about me, and but and I spent like 3 weeks there, and my family was very worried to keep me in one house like for more than 2 days. 2 days, and then I will go visit somebody else in their house to stay, because they didn't want anybody knows that I was in Baghdad visiting, for safety reasons, and because that time is it's easy to kidnap you, ransom, killing, all of that. So it was not easy.
Mm. So, what do you miss most about your life in Iraq?
What I Because it's my family there, I always missing them. it was very beautiful city in Baghdad. It was when you learn on things like when you're young, places, you go out, you shop, you have fun with your friends, you can go from one area to another visiting. Here, you don't have a lot of relatives. You cannot visit from, okay, you can call them and say, hey, I'm coming, and you go and visit. Here, you need to take appointment, say I'm coming at one time, and you know, there is not like here is. Here, I feel more formal. There it wasn't like you go uh, and really, most of it is I miss my family.
Circling back a little bit to Muncie and your life in Muncie,
Hmm.
in what ways have you been engaged in community organizations and activities here?
Like Islamic or
Um,
as a work for whole Muncie.
yeah, the whole Muncie.
Whole Muncie, I haven't did I only like when I do work through works, I do sometimes volunteering uh, through the mosque. Sometimes I will do volunteering, but I didn't I think a couple times they have like couple churches doing like food bank and things like that. Sometimes I will go like arrange the tables or something like that. If I have sometimes I do that, but other than that, I didn't do a lot, unfortunately.
There's still time.
Well, maybe.
So, going to more world contexts. So, as a Muslim who arrived in the United States in 1997, in what ways have national events affected you personally?
National events. The wars as always affects me because it's I've seen it, and it's a very shall we say harmful, change the humanity, uh, affects like bad way for the humanity, as for any religion, as I'm not talking about, but war is very for me is I think is the worst. Is the worst when you hear about any place has a war, you feel sympathy and effect, because and when there is like the war of 2013, there's people here, their kids went in the army, and some of them, you feel bad about it. So it was this is one of the things that's it affects.
Yeah. So, another thing that most likely affected you, Saddam Hussein, a man known to be a ruthless ruler, entered office in 1997. Can you give us a little bit about what it was like living under his rule?
uh, Saddam is he's a lot of people loved him, and a lot of people hate him. He's like a Hitler, but for a smaller country, and he chose to if you be in his like shall we say party and things, then you have a lot of privileges. If you see if his what he is doing is wrong, then you don't know when he will, shall we say, attack. It's not like only him as a as a person, but all his party, because there is nothing certain in it. So it was very difficult to live, in fear. Like you cannot go in the, like shall we say, buses. You sit down, and if it's very crowded, you're being pushed, and you will say, okay, this is not right. You get mad. If you said anything against the government, then you're history. Like, it's not only you, your whole family, and then, maybe sometimes it's, he vanish families, their houses, everything. So it wasn't easy.
And then in January of 2005, you were quoted in an article from an Israeli newspaper that stated that you drove 5 hours to Detroit to vote in the Iraqi parliamentary election. So why was this particular election so important to you?
Well, after 2003, there is when the war and the Saddam's went, down, like their regime, all of it went down. We were hoping that we'll have like a new country, not a new country, but is a new way of living, and to be free, and to be, you can. It was very exciting for us because you can maybe, yes, one day you can go back, and then you will see your family without, being, like fear, without, so it was very exciting that moment. And so it was, and this is like after how many years, 35 years, Saddam's was as a president. So this is the first time you were choosing a new thing, and you were voting. So it was very like new life for you. But unfortunately, after that, what they have now is not right people. So
So, can you see that Iraq has already changed for the better then?
no. I think in Iraq in the 1980s until 1991, it was much better, as, shall we say, not about the regime, but as we are saying, as a living area to live. It was very beautiful, very clean, very nice. When I went in 2010, I've seen, like, we went like back, very like 60 years back from the damages. The houses, all of it is being the shots. There is a lot of rebels. The streets are damaged. from the war, because of the bombs, the desert moved, so the weather is all of it like you have sand in the air, so it's not clear. So we used to see it very clear when you go. There's a lot of greening. There is a lot of farms. When I went back there, it wasn't. It's all of it sandy and rubbles, and everybody is like, you think, after a war you will settle, you feel better, you have electricity, you have clean water, uh, you have better life, but what really wasn't. So even when we have in the 90s the sections against us, and you were very worried how to finish the whole month with, shall we say, 3 kilos, that is equals 6 pounds of rice for each person for whole month, and some flour and sugar and tea they give you, because the UN will give you this amount for, say, support, will be sufficient for each person. And you being worried about how you will fix all these damages, plus how you will live, plus you know you need to get the food. So it was like, keeping the people there in this all the time struggle. So it wasn't like, okay, you are free from a regime that always push put a lot of pressures on you, on how you live, how you eat, how you drink. Now is more pressure on how you will get the things.
So looking back to you driving to Detroit to vote, what is your impression on voting in America?
Voting for, as for United States, or you wanting the voting for the first time for for Iraq?
More United States.
More United States. Voting is it's very nice, because it's you have opportunity to give your voice, to say you can be like choosing Republic or Democrat, or to be like like on the side. You can vote. You say yes, you want to do that, or no, you don't want to do that. And there in the Iraq, we didn't have the opportunity to vote. If you want to vote, you must vote for Saddam's regime, or you know, even if you don't vote, your vote will considered as being you voted, and they counted toward the regime. So they will always have, shall we say, 98.99%. That is, everybody vote for him.
So do you think many Americans take voting for granted here then?
I no, I haven't seen everybody wanting to vote. Some people says no, I don't want to vote, and some, but it's a good uh, opportunity to, shall we say, to give your voice, somebody to hear it. So I think it's a good thing to do it. Although a lot of people will say, I don't want it because neither two people are not good. This is their, they have the right, to say, I don't want to. But it's a good to, to give your vote a sound.
So looking back on 9/11, what do you remember about the events of September 11th?
I remember it was that day I had a day off, and I just took my son to the daycare, came back, and I've seen the news that, like, and I waked up my husband and I said there is something wrong. When I've seen that is, before everything, when they was showing the airplanes and things, I was terrified, really, and very sad. And when you see like something so high in a seconds goes all of it down, and the people died in it, is so not only sad, but is I think it's always remind me about all this war, and say, okay, I left all this behind me to come to here, and then here I go, something happened here, and you feel it's not fair, and why all of this happened to innocent people. So it's not it wasn't like, even for a whole week, I even get me very upset, and I didn't want to talk about it, really.
So, did the events of 9/11 change your life as a Muslim then?
It changed to say, yes, I am a Muslim, but I live here in the United States, and to give like the Islam a voice of innocence, and you know like what they're saying is like they are terrorists. I will say, no, why is a terrorist? If you're being a good person, if you do your right things, why you will be a terrorist? So
What are your perceptions of the U.S. in 2018 as an American resident then?
I wish everybody, they will learn from the other countries and what it happens. You know, it's a small thing; it will destroy a whole nation. So I love to, to see they are more strong, you know, in, shall we say, to stand all of us together to build, and have, a good country.
How did the 2016 presidential election affect you?
16. I was voting for Hillary, although, some of the ideas it wasn't right, but I thought she has more knowledge as running for, as a president than Trump. But, the voting was for Trump, and he was. So, not all of the ideas that they have is right, but they have their own agenda to decide which one is to work on it. But as a person, I wasn't very, shall we say, happy with either or, but say better the two evils take one evil. So,
And then,
or shall we say, we mustn't say evil. So, you can remove this, please.
and then, how did President Trump's Muslim ban affect you?
It affects because the first time when he said he put Iraq in the list of that is a amendment, and I had nephews that they are applying to come here, and now they cannot because of this ban, and I don't know. It's not easy to work with it.
And how have the doings of ISIS impacted you as a Muslim?
You know, these are groups of what they call them. The militias type of their militias, and they took the Islam as like a cover for them, but they are really groups of terrorists. They kill, they destroy, like a nation. When they destroy your history, they are destroying your nation. So they are a group of, as I said, it's a terrorist pure, and there's nothing like religion based on it.
And Muslim leaders have noted that in the wake of terror attacks such as 9/11, that it can be difficult for Muslims to express collective grief when they are looked at with suspicion. Do you
That's
think
true.
so? It does resonate with your own experience.
That's true. Yes.
So, what are your hopes for the future?
Hopes. Well, everybody can hope, but when it comes to reality, is a different. I hope that to live in peace, to see my kids graduate and being good persons, and they can lead another generation in right way. So why not? This is my hope.
And then, in closing, you can take a few moments to reflect on this. What is one event or story from your life that captures what it means to you to be a Muslim in America?
As I said, 9/11 was a point for me is uh, to show that I'm a Muslim, and plus, you can say to show, okay, you're American and you're a Muslim and you love your country. All of it in one thing. So, yeah, this is, if you really show yourself as how you are, this is the best way to, reflect yourself in front of the others.
Well, thank you, Selwa. On behalf of the Virginia B. Ball Center Seminar Muslims in Muncie, I want to thank you for sharing your story today.
Thank you.